Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to take a quick second to remind you to please hit that subscribe button, and if you like what we're doing and want to make a donation to the channel, you can do that via Cash App at American Made Channel. Now let's get into it.
In Brooklyn, New York this afternoon, John Gotti. John Gotti.
John Gotti. John Gotti.
Not guilty.
Now they call him the Teflon Don.
He wears $1,800 suits. He's chauffeured around in a Mercedes. He derives his power from his father. But that makes Junior the street boss, the youngest in history.
The agenda had been discussed with his father in advance by family attorney Joe Carrazza, and that closure meant not just pleading guilty, but quitting the mob. The Don responded by making fun of the word.
Well, Joseph told me, John, they want closure. I said, Joseph, that word ain't in my son's vocabulary. That's over-educated, underintelligent motherfucker. Closure. To me, 90 words I don't like.
For Gotti Sr., the idea of giving in went against everything he believed in.
I've seen all too often you have, for example, in the last 3 weeks, I've watched 4 different documentaries. The main focal point was my father. And for the most part, not very flattering. If you wanted the image of a tough guy, an intelligent guy, yeah, it's there. But everything else is not very flattering. And usually what you have more times than not is you have adversarial individuals. You'll have an agent, law enforcement, you'll have a government cooperator. They're all weighing in and giving their opinion, and then you have individuals from the press. That's what you see today, okay? Loyal to my father, to me now today in his death, is taking the position of stepping up and defending him. Having the ability to say, look, I'm not an idiot. I don't sit in the corner and drool all over myself. I love this man. I observed this man. I knew him better than any other individual. Aside from my mother. She slept with him, I didn't. But I've watched him, I studied him, I idolized him my whole life. So I know his pros and his cons, and his pros certainly outweighed his cons. And being loyal to him is having the ability to express that today and defend him, and to be able to have the opportunity to express who this man was, as I had done in Shadow of My Father, my book. That's being loyal to my father, having the ability here and now today to defend him when he's not here to defend himself. And even if he was here to defend himself, my father's not going to sit there and get into a debate. We live in what's called a fecky world. Today you have all these people that come out and they go on internet now and they creep out of their closet late at night. You hear the doors opening up, they come out and they get on there. And they get all these tough guys, all these government cooperators, these tough guys, these mutts. They all come out and they attack. They'll attack John Gotti, they'll attack me, his wife, his daughters. Being a good son, being a loyal son, in his death is me picking up his sword and moving forward and defending him and his family. I wouldn't cooperate ever because I don't have the right to do that to my sons. I wouldn't have that right. I made them proud of their name. I've always told them to walk with their heads up. I've always told them, I've taught them a certain way, but I didn't teach them so much the way my father had taught me. Where my father would turn around and he would say, you know, you never talk to a cop and things of that nature, okay? I never taught my kids in that respect. I taught them to be citizens. But I also told them to be loyal to your friends, to be a stand-up guy. If you get caught short, then you take your weight like a man, like you're supposed to, okay? And they'll always be proud of your grandfather. That man walked it all the way to the gate. That man died with handcuffs to a bed, in excruciating pain, the muscle, the tissue right all around his throat. He died suffering like a dog. That he never said uncle. That's a man. You'll never see another man like him again. Now, what right would I have to now one day go to jail? Life got bad for me. Life got tricky for me. And say, okay, you got me. I'm going to give you some people. I'm going to put my mess onto somebody else. So they throw everything they can at me to bring me to that point. Whatever they could, they bring me to that point, including medically neglecting me and leaving me for months that I only have half use of my kidney. They were about to treat me when I was in Pinellas County, and we won the motion. And the worst thing that could have happened was I fell into now I had to be moved. So they gave me what's called a diesel therapy. And to explain what diesel therapy is when you're being moved from a prison to another location, they turn you over to the marshals, and they'll put you either in planes, it could be on buses, it could be in cars, but you'll be moved, it could be across the country. It depends. In my case, in several month period of time, I ended up in 17 prisons. 17. Now, to take me, for example, from Pinellas County, Florida, and bring me back to New York, a motion that I had won. My geography is not so bad, okay, but I think when you end up in Oklahoma and you end up in Texas, somehow it doesn't match up. And that's what was happening. What was happening is the diesel therapy they were employing against me was I was in Amarillo, Texas. I was in El Paso, Texas. I was in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I was in Kansas City, Kansas. Then I went all the way back to New Hampshire. Then from New Hampshire to Stewart's Air Force Base, and then back on a plane, back to Atlanta. Then from Atlanta, Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, back to New Hampshire. New Hampshire, back to Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia to Denton, Georgia. From Denton, Georgia, then I end up back in Oklahoma. This went on for many months. Now, you take an individual that you know is sick. Stone stuck in my kidney. It's infected. See the paperwork, the medical reports telling you this. And you're squeezing them. You're squeezing them because you want them to say uncle. You want them to capitulate. And this is what you do. You put me on buses. One quick example would be they loaded me on, I was on Con Air. So they bring me down from my cell, and I'm loaded on the 747 Marshall plane at 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm the first one to be loaded on the plane. And in the back, you're belly chained and shackled on. And there's a hook that hooks your ankle braces, your ankle chains on in the plane. And by 9:15, the plane's completely loaded. And then I look up to the front, and I see several marshals coming on the plane and looking and talking and pointing towards me. And I says, they're going to take me off this plane. I figured this plane was going to take me right back. I just got off the bus now, and I was going to get from Atlanta, Georgia. It was going to take me to New York. Instead, they came back. Gotti, you're coming with us. They took me off the plane. They put me in a bus, and I went on a 19-hour bus ride. Okay, locked in a cage, which was 3 feet by 2 feet. You're locked in this cage, and you're belly chained, black boxed, ankle chained, no urinal. Now, anybody who's had an affected kidney and a stone stuck in your kidney, you know exactly. You always feel the urge to urinate, but nothing's coming out, so you're just trickling blood. You're trickling blood. 19 straight hours. 19 straight hours. And this went on for months. They did all the things they were supposed to do to break me down, and it didn't work. And it didn't work because I'm loyal in my love for my children. I would never disgrace my sons like that. I would never put my sons in a position where if they look at their father and say, I want to change my name. What right would I have to do that to them? What right would I have to do because of my sins? Because of the things I've done in my life, the wrongs I've done in my life? Put that onto my children and make them walk around in pain and disgrace. I wouldn't have that right.
Ping pong boom.